everybody. Rich Boss.
Wow. This is amazing.
Yes.
This is amazing. I've never got that big of an applause anywhere.
Well, we do this for people at the end of their life.
That's right.
We wanted to have your funeral while you were still here.
If you did it for the end of my career, we could have done it 3 years ago. This is amazing. Thank you for coming out during the big storm. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, right off the bat, we wanted to talk to you about a post-Castro Cuba. And
Well,
I was pointing out to the radio audience, you were dressed like you should be playing dominoes somewhere.
That's what I'm working now at OTB. So I got this shirt at a thrift store for $15. A little Jewy, but listen, I love these guayaberas. If there's any Latin people, you agree. You're wearing hot pants, but anyhow.
Oh, you're doing crowd work during the interview. Good.
Well, he talked to me. Once they talk to me, I have to answer them.
Well, right away we'll jump into your roast that's available now, right?
Thank you. At vossroast.com. Yeah.
So that roast, when you put it together, any idea that it was going to become that kind of an iconic night? Because it really is.
Thank you. Bonnie, for my birthday a couple years ago, she threw a big surprise party. And, she loves planning and doing these things. I mean, she's an ass in other ways, but when it comes to parties.
Yeah.
So she said, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, I don't know, let's do a roast, right? And then all of a sudden, she put this into whatever the word is to get it going.
Right. Gear is what you're looking for? Okay, there we go.
I'm going to need you for a lot of this.
Hey, Rich, look at Hot Pants over there. You know what I mean? Who is this guy?
So she put in the gear, and everything. She got the caterers, a cake, for after the big party after it. She said, "Who would you like on the dais?" The only person that wasn't on the dais that I would have loved would have been Keith.
And the reason why it was so close to his stroke, or
no, Keith. Well, because this roast was some of my best friends in the business. Mm-hmm. Opie didn't show up, but still,
we're editing that.
It's I think he was doing a pop-up.
Stop it!
Stop! I'm only kidding. In a McDonald's. Anyhow,
no, he wasn't. That's not true. None of that's true.
Listen to me.
Doing very well.
Anyhow, so these were some of my. Everywhere I go, I kill. These were some of my best friends in the world.
Who was the first person to say yes to you?
Me.
Okay.
Who was the first person? Probably Norton.
Yeah.
Norton. I would do anything for him, and he would do anything for me. I mean, Norton was the best man at my wedding. He flew to Edmonton. And I gave him a nice watch as a gift. Well, anyhow, so I did get it for free in the Oscar gift bag. So.
By the way, just let me wipe a tear away, because I had no idea this was going to be this sentimental. It's really beautiful to hear you.
Two seats are open. So she, started contacting, I guess, Norton, and then it all fell into place, with the dais.
Right.
Keith said yes, but then, he didn't feel comfortable doing a roast. He had a stroke and everything. And he, I guess, and plus Keith did a roast. We did a Patrice roast years ago, and Keith kind of had a little bit of a tough time. He walked in and tried to ad-lib a roast, which is almost impossible. So I think in the back of his mind, besides the stroke, he bailed. So I needed a minority, so I went to Luis Gomez.
This part is true. It's literally true.
I needed a minority and somebody anti-female, so we went to Lewis, and the dais was all put in place. DeRosa flew in for it. Bobby, was one of the main, and Colin. Bobby, Colin, and Norton I wanted definitely. I mean, these are some of my best friends in the business. So she put it together, and everything just fell in place. I mean, we also have a producer, this girl, Kate Connor, who helps us with tons of stuff. And, you know, they had posters made, tattoos made. You know, it was just, we did a video of Patrice from the grave. And I guess it's on the extras. It didn't make the roast, but...
So why did I spend my $10?
But the Patrice from the grave was so... Because we had these tombstones that were bouncing up and down. And we took clips of him trashing me on radio. And it was so funny, but it just wouldn't work in the roast. We couldn't fit it in. And so... Is there any other questions, or am I just fucking rambling?
No. I
get lost.
I made the mistake. I pulled the string. That's me.
And my head popped and confetti came out. Oh,
dude, I'll just say this. I mean, how many of you guys have already seen the roast already? I got to tell you, it's the funniest roast I've ever seen in my life. And it goes all the way back as far as they've done roast. It's just absolutely insanely hilarious.
Well, thank you. And the thing is, this is Murderer's Row of comics. And Bonnie opened it unbelievable. You know, when she said to Norton, you know, when she looked at Norton and said, your radio show is so bad, I'd rather listen to my daughter drowning. It kind of set the tone.
Yes, it did.
And the thing is, it was, you know, when you're doing a roast, like when these guys are coming at you, you don't mind because they're your good friends. You see some of these roasts on TV, and you see some of the people getting roasted. They're getting a little mad because they're going, who is this person to say this about me? They don't know me.
Yeah.
But none of it bothered me, except one comic said Bonnie slept with some guy, and I'm going, not him too. But so it doesn't hurt as much because
as much.
Well, no, because they're my friends, and we do this anyhow, sitting around. You know, so if it was a bunch of comics that I wasn't friends with, or some, you know, like open micers or you know what I mean? But when it's coming from like a Colin or a Bobby or a Norton or Judy, it doesn't hurt as much. And you're going, you know, it's going to be good material because they know the person before them is going to kill. They know it, you know.
Well, you know, I talked to Florentine about it, who was absolutely hilarious in the show. It might be the funniest thing I've ever seen him do. And he's, you know, no, seriously, he's an amazing comic. And he said, I mean, everybody was just teeing off on him because, God forbid, his wife slept with someone else. And it was just one joke after another. And I asked him about it. And he goes, all he was thinking about was his set. He was like, nothing mattered to me. I would have only felt bad if my set didn't go well. And he gets a standing ovation in the middle of a roast. He's amazing.
Well, when he was on, Colin was up next.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting next to Colin, and Colin leans over and goes, what am I going to do? And Colin is ready for anything. He's so good. He's such a professional. And he was thinking, oh, my God, how am I going to follow this? You know, and he went up and had no problem. But Florentine, you're right. I've never seen him do that well. You know,
I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that well in a roast. It was unbelievable.
You could have been at the Florentine hour special featuring Florentine with nothing but Florentine's family, and he still wouldn't have done as well. It could have been Florentine and his kid in the audience. And
now, I've seen him put together the special he was releasing, and it's about that marriage, and it's brutal and it's hilarious, man.
Well, Florentine's been through some tough shit with relationships, from his first girlfriend, you know, and then his wife. His wife left him, you know, for a younger guy, and it was left him for like a young cop. So
I'm just going to say that this isn't his Unmasked.
No.
I don't think we feel too comfortable talking about this.
Oh, well, I was going to do a line from the roast. That
go ahead, do it.
And you know, they were trashing him about his wife, you know, banging some young cop. And then one of the roasters talked about my house when it caught on fire, and said the firefighters were late because they were all out there fucking Florentine's wife. And it was so funny. I got up. I go. I'm going to end my career. I did a roast once. It was the Donald Trump roast at the Friars Club, and it's when the Friars broke away from Comedy Central. It was at the Hilton. There was 2,000 people. Every club owner from New York, agent, manager, anybody who meant anything. Opie and Anthony were up in the audience with Norton, Bonnie, when I was dating her, my father, mother. So anybody in New York that meant anything was at this roast. Now, the first guy goes up, this guy, Stewie Stone, and kills like I've never seen anybody kill in a roast. I go, I'm going to end my career. Then Susie Essman goes up and destroys. I mean, she's really funny. She's from Curb, Susie Essman. And I go, I have to sneak off this dais because there's no way I could possibly follow this. And I'm just going to embarrass myself in front of everybody. And then Belzer went up, and I had no problem going on after. I mean, I couldn't keep up with him in acting, but he went up. And I remember it was Regis Philbin was the roast master. And it was a month after Dangerfield died, 1 month. And I walked up and I said, a big hand for Regis. I go, originally they asked Rodney to MC this, but he said, I'd rather be dead, right? It was a month. Silence. 2,000 people staring at me, right? I said, don't fuck with me. I'll bring Belzer back. So the pressure, the
pressure's there.
So when this roast, I'm sitting there and I'm watching people slaughter. I mean, slaughter. And I go, how am I going to follow this? I mean, I am a genius and I've been around, And I got up and, I mean, I had a couple good lines. Anthony, I said, you're a great broadcaster. I mean, you put broads in casts. And then Judy Gold, I said, I loved you on the subway platform in Ghost. So I was doing okay, but I was still nervous. I'm very nervous. Then Anthony tried to heckle me from the audience. Okay? I don't know what. Maybe he was on his 8th drink. I have no idea. And I kind of buried him, but it put me in the comedy club mode. Like, this is what I'm used to. Fucking fighting with people in the crowd. Not, I don't go on stage and go, let's get them. But if it happens, then I'm prepared. So when Anthony did that, and Anthony and I are good friends, so you could feel that there was no hatred whatsoever. He said, I hate your hat. And I wish I would have said, why does it remind you of a black lady in Times Square? But, I mean, I said something else. But it put me at ease, where I didn't even have to look at my notes anymore. I just started roasting from my memory, from writing the stuff, or looking at it for a couple of days. The whole day I was a mess.
Well, if you watch that roast and you watch you during it, and there was how many people, like 8 or something?
Yeah.
You see, you look like you're ready to get up through the whole thing, like you're ready. Like, am I on? Am I on? For like 3 hours you were doing it.
Well, no, I was, because I had to go to the bathroom.
You were concerned about that. You told me that earlier. You were concerned.
Oh, I get very concerned because I know at some point in my career it's going to fall apart. And, like, I've already drooled on stage. That's already happened. That happened recently. The whole audience saw it. It's like the drool fell in slow motion. It's like I was hitting on this girl once at Caroline's. We're sitting at the bar, and I had I was having dental work done, and I had all I know is I'm hitting on her, and one of my teeth fell out of my mouth on the bar, and true story, it was like a temporary. I go, well, I'm not closing the deal with her.
It's literally like a nightmare, like an actual nightmare that people have.
Yes. Well, you never think your tooth is going to fall out when you're trying to close a deal. And, I could see a little drool every now and then. I'm getting older, and I always have, a very wet mouth with a lot of, with the Nicorette gum. I played it off, but it was still drool. And I just know at some point I'm just going to fall apart and just piss myself and fall apart on stage. You know what I mean? Do you ever feel that?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I know the show's called Unmasked, but you don't have to take it all the way off.
Like,
You can keep a little bit for yourself.
Listen, I'm as honest as I could be. That's what people don't know this about Rich Voss. I might be, aggressive and gruff, but I'm in touch with my, you know what I mean? I let down my walls. I let people inside. That's the problem.
Luckily we're no longer doing gay jokes. That's what I'm saying. But you have to watch some of these things that you're saying. Protect yourself.
Well, no, I mean, look, what I'm saying is, through the years on radio where we've told so many true stories and just let our mask, take our mask, what is it, let your mask down or put it, whatever.
I have no idea.
Take it off. That you feel comfortable, because that audience tonight at the roast were a lot of radio, besides comics, there were a lot of radio fans there, obviously because you saw their parents dropping them off out front. So you're kind of comfortable being real. And to me, comedy, the best comics, you look at Patrice, he was as real as you could be. You look at Stanhope, these to me are the best comics that are talking from here, from their heart and not their head. Don't get me wrong, the head comics are funny too, that are just doing bits, but you leave the show and you go, he was funny or she was funny. What they say, I don't know. But when you leave, a Norton show or a Patrice show or Bobby or stand-up, those people. You know what I mean? So I see that as good comedy to me. And
well, a lot of people leave those shows during the show. I've never really asked you about how you started or quite frankly, why you started.
In comedy?
Yeah, in comedy.
That's why?
I mean, was there something that clicked for you?
Here, growing up, I figured this out later on in life. I used to come home from school, I guess in 4th grade, and I would listen to this comedy album every day. It was this guy, Von Meter. He did the impressions of the Kennedys. The album was called The First Family. He was amazing. He sounded just like Jack Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. And I would listen every day. His career was done after they got assassinated. This guy was
not as funny.
No, he was the top comic, the #1 album sold in comedy. And then he went, like they say, from Park Avenue to Park Bench. He died an alcoholic. But anyhow, I used to listen to him coming home, and I realized later on. And then I used to watch Ed Sullivan, and I would love like Alan King and the comics. And a lot of it was because my parents were getting divorced when I was, in 4th grade, and this was a way that I could handle it through humor, because I was in 4th grade. When your mother takes you, your brother, and your sister, and takes you to your grandparents' house on my father's side, and knocks on the door and says, "I don't want them, take them." It's kind of an abandonment issue.
You think?
So and then when you don't see your father for like 2 weeks and he's coming to see you and you're like all excited, you're going, "Oh, here's Daddy," and you see him walking towards, you're in the window, and then detectives jump out of the bushes because my mom was using us as fucking pawns to arrest my dad. So you're thinking, okay, who was wrong? Him for not paying child support or her for using us as pawns? So it was a fucking horrible childhood. And comedy,
but you had that Von Meter album.
I had the Von Meter album. That's
the saddest thing I've ever heard. I had no idea of any of this.
Well, but here's the thing. So, comedy help with the pain that you're dealing with as a child. Look, back then, this was years ago. They didn't have self-help. They didn't have Dr. Phil. Parents just fucking got divorced and were very self-centered or did whatever they had to do. Kids were just fucking pawns. Like when I got divorced with my first wife, I did the exact opposite than my parents, and my kids grew up to be good kids, just from the attention and affection. So the divorce, then as you get older, you're going, well, I'm not getting this attention at home, so you're doing everything for negative attention. You see what I'm saying? You're doing negative. You're doing whatever, breaking windows at the school, stealing, doing, and then you progress into drugs. And I'm going, you know, I've had all kinds of businesses that did really well, but I fucked them up because I, you know, did coke, and I wasn't even smoking it then. That was a whole nother level. And then I said, you know, my whole life I loved comedy, so I said I have to do this. So there was an open mic. They used to have it at Catch a Rising Star where you would take a number and stand outside, and if they pick, you go on stage. And I put all these. I saw this comic, Lenny Schultz. Remember Lenny?
Yeah, more chickens or whatever.
More pigs.
More pigs. Yeah.
And he was a prop comic, and I thought he was the funniest man alive. So I said, "Oh, that's easy." So I went to Toys R Us and bought a bunch of shit. I did. I bought a bunch of shit at Toys R Us. I go, if he could do it, I could do it. And I remember this one bit. These doll arms. I took this doll, and the doll arms were about, you know, like a foot long.
Yeah.
And I cut them off, and I would put my arms in my shirt, and I would hold the arms, and I'd walk out with like little hands sticking out, and I go, let's have a big hand for the last act, right? It was so fucking hacky, and I had all these props, right? But it was horrible. I did a racial thing, and I made a girl from my town cry, and it was really, it was horrible. And I don't know if I could say this because it might come back to haunt me. I took an old sweat sock and said it was a black person's Christmas stocking, and I pulled out stuff that were very. Well, what I'm saying is, but this is way back. This is before, you know.
Before what?
Huh?
Before what? You couldn't be a racist?
This is so. But I didn't know it was racist because I grew.
Rich, I'm worried this is not going to air.
Cut that part out. No. I grew up in an all-black neighborhood. I didn't think it was racist. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I grew up in Plainfield in a black neighborhood. I was the white guy in my neighborhood.
All right, so you're saying because you relate so much, but did you ever see a black person take a black sock? Look, this is our stocking. Let me pull out a lot of broken stereotypes out of this.
Look, comedy is stereotypes. And back then, there's a lot of stereotypes in comedy.
I just want to say to the young people, no, it's not.
Yes.
I know you're listening right now.
Well, it was.
Yeah, okay.
It was a lot of stereotypes. Look, I mean, whatever. I didn't have a racist bone in my body. I just tried to be funny throughout my whole life. In school, in 4th grade, I was the second funniest guy. Dennis was the first, but he ended up in jail.
Yeah. You know why I feel so bad? I feel so bad I didn't get Dennis for this. That's what have really been
so
killing.
Funny. I was in an all-black gang in 4th grade.
Yeah.
But then...
What were you guys called?
I don't know. MM something. Or MS.
13? Is that where you're going with this?
No, it was a bunch of people with multiple sclerosis. So I was in a black gang in school, in Barlow School, and Sonny was the leader. And I remember he took one of my Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
And I told the teacher, and I ratted on Sonny. The whole gang was chasing me home from school. The whole gang. You saw this little white kid running with his stupid saddle shoes. My mother bought me saddle shoes. I was tormented. And some lady stopped them from beating me up. And some lady, and she was probably like 21, but I'm going some old lady. But that, I was in black gangs in my neighborhood throughout.
Let me just say, why do I feel like the cop in Usual Suspects right now? What?
Well, I don't know what I'm getting at.
No, you're nailing it. What you're saying, you had a lot of stuff going on when you were a kid.
Yes.
And you were looking to express yourself. God,
I could have just said that.
Yeah.
See, that's why you have a radio show and I'm doing Bobby's podcast later.
Make sure you bring up the trash can with you. That's how he judges people. Hey, so that when you started stand up, and this is in the 80s, I guess, early.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it, I think, okay, I've been sober 32 years, so I was doing it like 34 years I've been doing it.
Yeah.
30,
So you were
subtract.
only doing that 2 years when you were the crazy kid? Because you were like a legend before you got sober.
Well, I had some stories, yeah. I mean, with Freebase and you know, just comics and us partying and go. I remember, it's so weird. I was an arrogant douchebag even then. I remember this. Well, I'm not really arrogant. I'm kind of like, just what do you call it? I'm positive. I remember saying to a club booker, we're all getting high and doing. I go, I'm going to be famous someday. I'm going to be. I said, and I worked for that club booker, and he had me do a show, and he was kicked out of his house. So he was staying in a hotel, and he had all his stuff in the hotel. And I do the show for him, and he says, I don't have your money. I go, look, you got to give me something. And I took his TV, and I remember coming home, my first wife said, what are you working for, a microwave next week? But back then, we were partying and getting high, and, you know, I didn't get real or serious until I got out of rehab. I mean, I remember in rehab they said you can't do comedy for a year, and the day I got out of rehab, I did comedy that night because I knew I surrendered to drugs. I knew I didn't want to get high as much as I wanted to stay clean. So I did comedy. And it got better and better and through the years. But you don't really find your voice till you're like 10, 15, whatever years in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At one point in my career, I'm running around stage thinking I'm fucking Robin Williams. Then one point, I'm doing deadpan like Stephen Wright, you know. I remember walking on stage, if you're riding in a cab and the driver goes in reverse, does he owe you money? You know. Just stupid one-liners, you know. Does an Eskimo put his money in snowbanks? What a fucking hack! I stink. That's what do red ants get mad when their daughters go out with black ants? You know, I kind of brought the racial stuff back.
Yeah, good.
I couldn't let go of the racial stuff. But it's just dumb stuff. And then you're doing clubs on the road, whatever. I started emceeing on the road. And then, work your way up, and then you start writing. And I don't know when it is when you get real, when you start really writing about yourself. Mm-hmm. I remember working your club in Tampa, and I don't know what, I all week I was having a tough time. I don't know what it was. And I go, oh, man, thank God he's not here. You weren't there to see it, but it was tough.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I got called on my vacation. How do you know this guy? But I had never asked you, what was your bottom? What made you decide? Because you were kind of a happy guy, even though you're on drugs, right? I mean, you seem like it.
I guess, your body, when you go from partying, mm-hmm. Drinking, getting high, snorting coke, once I started smoking Freebase and crack, it's a whole nother level. I might not have hit my bottom, or maybe years later, if I just stayed lightly snorting it or smoking pot. But once I started smoking Freebase, after 2 or 3 years, I go, either I'm going to die or end up in jail or a mental institution. I was already in fucking nut houses for anxiety. When I was 21, I had the anxiety. No one knew. My friends go, I was all fucked up, and they go, well, you need a vacation. They drove me to Florida. We drove all the way to Florida, and we got there. I go, I got to go home. So the next day we drove back because I was a fucking mess, and I checked myself in the hospital. Now, back then, they didn't really know what anxiety was, right. So they're giving you like Thorazine and Haldol, and I'm doing like this fucking like a shuffle around me and some girl I met. We just walk like fucking zombies. I remember my friend came to visit me, and I said, I can't see you. We're going for a walk today. And it was anxiety. It was just all the shit in my life coming, and I was 21. I went to therapy. It passed. It came back when I was 40 real bad. I found a therapist. So the bottom was the freebase. I was doing shit that you just don't do. You know, I owed money everywhere. This one guy, I owed him money. He lit my mother's car on fire. They torched my mother's car, you know, because I owed drug dealers money. And, you know, my mom's car, you know, I said to him, I go, now we're getting a free car from insurance, and you're definitely not getting your money. But, you know, I remember driving in New York in one of my mom's cars, and someone hit the car. And I said, just give me $100 and drive away. And I went and bought, you know, 10 vials of crack. So everybody around me was being affected, you know,
Sure.
and you really don't see it because you're in such denial. And it's such a self-centered disease, alcoholism and drug addiction. It's not to the point where I said, I can't live this way anymore. And I put myself in rehab. And I said, and I did everything in my life to do the whole 5-day detox and the whole 28 days in rehab because I never finished anything in my life before that. I quit school. You know, I'd build a model plane and I remember building a plane. I couldn't get one part in and I smashed it. My mother goes, just like your father. And, but I didn't leave her.
She was trying.
Yeah. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it doesn't normally go off like a switch for that. For most people, particularly young people who have a crack addiction, it's a very rare thing to come off it the way you did.
Well, it took 3 years, though, of doing it. So it wasn't like I did it. I remember one night I probably smoked an eighth of Coke, and I was out of my... I go, I can't do it. And I remember going to Fair Oaks Hospital, and, you know, because it was just on the news. This is the rehab. And I sat in the waiting room, you know, panicking, and I got to get into rehab. And by the time they saw me, one, I didn't have insurance. I was already came down. I said, fuck it, I'm leaving. So the bottom really was one night we got in I was going into New York, just a true story. It was like 7 o'clock. My friend said, can you go cop? So I would get their money. I would drive in. I took my friend's car. I tried to sell his car, but I didn't have the bill of sale. I got the radio out. So that was my first trip into New York. Then I got home, 9 o'clock. I go back in with my other friends, and we get into a major car accident. No one gets hurt. We run out, take another car in, and then we cop for our second time. Then my friend Frankie Bastille is coming into town, and I go in for the third time, like at maybe 1 or 2 a.m., and we're smoking till sunup. I'm driving home, and I get this pain in my stomach. I pull into a Holiday Inn. I walk in. I fall on the floor. I thought I was dying, and I had a kidney stone. But, you know, so they rushed me to the hospital. They give me, I guess, morphine or whatever, you know. And I wake up. I leave the hospital, and I go back to New York. And then a week later said, I have to go to rehab. Because that night, I should have died 2 or 3 times. And I said, look, I'm going to fucking rehab. And I went to this place in Marlborough, New Jersey called New Hope Foundation. And those counselors basically saved my life. They saved my life. Because without them, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I could have went into a meeting and just done it on my own without that.
Now, do you... go ahead and play. That's really... I mean, it is... yeah, that is the bottom, I think, where you're at there. But were you able to be friends with Frankie after that, or did you have to... But I'm very serious about that because I knew Frankie very well, and he was an incredible amount of fun.
Yes.
And also was on the same kind of...
No, I kind of, you know, pulled away from him and all my friends that were getting high.
Yeah.
And I remember, what am I, 6?
It's about the 8th time you said member tonight.
I know.
So, yeah.
I know. I'm thinking what used to go in my mouth when I was getting high.
It's hilarious.
I remember seeing him and doing in New York one night and just hanging out with him one day. And it was just a total nightmare day.
Yeah.
I was sober. I had a girlfriend, which is another story. And I remember he left his stuff in my car. Then we went separate ways. And then I come back and the car windows broken and his stuff is stolen, which he did himself, and it was just a nightmare. So I'm done with him. And then one time I was working in down in Florida, somewhere, and he got himself on the bill to middle for me, and he was still in the. It was weird when he died. Frankie was a heroin addict, and he reminded me of Keith Richards. If Keith Richards was a comic or Tom Waits was a comic, that would be Bastille.
Yeah.
And I remember when his dad died, and he died like 2 or 3 days after it. So they cremated him and put his ashes in a urn and put the urn in his father's coffin to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Mm-hmm. So he was buried in his, now he's fucking haunting his father in the afterlife. A lot of these stories don't mean anything to you, but there's people out there listening going, yeah, sure. We know him.
And just for them, I'll let them know that it's urn, not urn.
Oh.
Yeah, because I don't want any young junkies going, and you still?
I have trouble with ease.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that how it's spelled with an E?
No. There's no E in there.
Is it spelled with a U? U-R-N?
U-R-N. It's a different urn.
Yeah, but U-R-N would sound like a yearn, more like an urn. Urn would be E-A-R-N.
Well, yeah, like if this was a spelling bee, Rich.
Okay.
And by the way, in the middle of just this heart-crushing story, it's still hilarious. Now, the special you shot is actually at an NA meeting, right?
I shot an hour special at an NA convention.
Now, you know what the A stands for, right?
Well, okay.
Just sweeping camera shots.
No. Okay. Can I tell you something really? Oh, fuck. Oh, look who comes prepared. It's URN?
Yeah.
So, one, we're not going to show the audience.
No.
2, no one's ever shot a special at a convention. Everything's been done everywhere.
Yeah.
And I could do material that I really wouldn't do in a club. And it was so great. I'm doing it in a 12-step convention. It's the best audience on the planet. One, they're not drunk. There's no waitress or waiter bringing drinks, and there's no one all fucked up heckle. They're the best audience if you've ever worked a convention. So I'm on stage, and my backdrop is cool. It looks like a fucking. It looks like a 12-step meeting. I had the coffee pot, the signs, the donuts, and the chairs set up with books. It really looks fucking cool. So I'm on stage for a few minutes. And they said, sit down. Do it sitting down. Bonnie looked at it and thought I was in a fucking wheelchair. So she goes, why didn't you stand? I go, they told me to sit. So there was a lady to the left of me, this black lady, probably the best audience member ever. You know what I mean? When they're just so great, laughing and agreeing. And I go, you are the best person on the planet. And then there was a lady right in the front row, that wouldn't smile. She was probably didn't smile no matter what. And I did a couple of jokes. I go, ma'am, this is all, and she's not smiling. Then I did another joke, killed, nothing from. I go, look, lady, this is it. This is my last shot. I cannot have you sitting up front, bringing me the fuck down like this. So I sent her to the back of the room, and I put the black lady in the front row. I did. I moved her, and I moved this one over, and then it was perfect.
Were you worried that the woman might have only been 5-day clean, going through some shit?
No, it was about me. I don't give a fuck. This was my special.
Yeah.
It wasn't her special.
Good. Now I know that you get the program.
Yes,
fantastic.
No, I told him, look, this is a comedy show. This isn't a fucking meeting. I said, look, if anybody has a problem with this shit, call your fucking sponsor, all right? If you're gonna go out and get high, you were gonna do that anyhow. There's nothing I could say that's gonna make you fucking drink or get high, that's on you. When I tell people, I go, look, if you want help, all you have to do is call me. That's all you have to
Yeah,
do.
I could tell by what you just said there.
Just smile and laugh when you call.
Just be good. So doing that, was that like a great kind of... I mean, you're talking about finding that place that's real, and here you are really exposing yourself in that special.
It was so fucking much fun, and it was great, because, like I said, because there's nothing you could say to a room full of recovering addicts that they haven't heard or done. You know what I mean? So when I'm up there telling stories, how, I used to go to garage sales in my town and buy old sets of golf clubs, for like $5, just like old beat up golf clubs. And I would go to drug dealers. I go, give me $1,000 on credit, and I'll leave you my golf clubs as collateral, right? And then, there's like 7 drug dealers in my hometown that all have garage sale golf clubs. That's what,
It's oddly genius. That's the weird thing about it.
I did it all the time. Because people always sold old golf, and they're going, oh, that scam, listen to this one. You know what I mean? So when you're connecting, the best thing in comedy is when the audiences come, when your introduction is just your name, because they're coming to see you. After the last comic, we were doing theaters and selling out, and people were coming. They knew who I was. I just didn't hold on to that audience because, on NBC, you can't talk about hot loads landing on a back. So when you're on stage and these people are going, whoa, that's not the guy we saw on last comic. I go, you know what I mean? Do a little research.
So you felt like they were there to see clean comedy.
Well, they were there they were a reality audience, a reality show audience. When we did Tough Crowd, that was a comedy audience. If that show would have lasted 2 more years, you know what I mean? If people, could just understand that stuttering, yammering fuck Colin, and that show would have lasted a couple more years, things would have went great.
I mean, it's weird now if you turn on MSNBC or Fox or CNN, it looks like Tough Crowd. It's just people lighting each other. It's just not funny the way, but everything else is done the same way.
Well, yeah, it's broken into the 4 panels or whatever, and they're all just yelling. But Tough Crowd was like, it goes right back to the roast. These were the people that did Tough Crowd, and this was our connection when we were on Tough Crowd.
Right.
Norton or Keith, but nobody was as fast as Geraldo. I mean, just a brilliant, funny comic. On every roast on Comedy Central, I always put him first because they knew how good he was. So that's what Tough Crowd was. It wasn't like doing TV. It was great. It was in New York. You'd leave home, hey, I'm going to go do Tough Crowd, be on TV, food, craft service, and then just hang in New York and do a spot. It was the best show.
But there was also some hurt feelings on that show too, right? People would get stung a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think some people, I'll tell you the truth. I was on with Patrice, and Dat Fan was on, and that's when he won last comic. And me and Patrice mainly Patrice, beat him down really bad. And I'm not just saying this to make me look like a good person, because I'm not.
No one's going to think that.
I remember, I wrote on Facebook and I apologized. I said, listen, we were assholes. This was years ago, and I'm sorry. I wish I never did this, and I hope you accept my apology, you fucking hack. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
But did you hear back from him, or?
Yeah, he wrote back. Yeah, because you do things, in life, and then you look back. The other day I was in it's all program in your head, doing a 10-step. I was in this supermarket the other day, and I'm waiting online to get lottery tickets, and this guy is complaining about 20 cents, and I said, look, I'll give you the 20 cents, just fucking wrap it up. And I felt bad, and I saw him in the parking lot, and I apologized. I go, that was rude of me. He goes, yeah, yes, it was. And I'm going, hey, fuck, I'm apologizing. Jesus Christ. Fuck you. I hope you lose your 20 cents, you jerk off. Sorry. Fucking.
It's a beautiful story, Rich.
Well, I'm just saying, you realize in life when you do. Look, and these are all cliches, but you don't always know when you're doing the right thing, but you definitely know when you're doing the wrong thing. And if you apologize, then that's all you could do, you know?
Yeah.
I how many times do I got to say sorry to Bonnie just for life, you know?
Probably not enough, Rich.
She fucking, I'm surprised she doesn't put a fucking altar at the end of the bed, because she gives me a lecture every night on what a bad human being I am. Every night I get a fucking lecture.
Right.
She yells at me. Like we were eating cherries the other night. Right? We're eating cherries. And I don't like the soft ones. I like them a little harder. You know what I mean? So, yeah, thank you. So I pick them up. I pick one up, and and I put it back in the thing. She goes, "What the fuck you doing? You won't eat it, but you'll give it to your kid or your wife?" Same with the other day. I opened up like milk or something. I opened up something. Mustard. It was mustard. And I go, because I always listen to hear the crack, you know. Or when I buy potato chips. When I buy potato chips, I squeeze both ends of the bag, because if you hear like a sss, that means, you know, somebody shot it with something, or, you know, can't, like, so I squeeze, what?
I just want to just take a second.
What?
Shouldn't the crack paranoia have left you by now?
No. Listen, you squeeze your Snickers bar, because you don't know if there's some disgruntled Snickers employee that wasn't fucking, you know, promoted to Babe Ruth, and he wants to take it out on the Snickers community. So I fucking...
Baby Ruth would be the
It's a step
job.
up. It's a whole nother level. People know Babe Ruth. They don't know there was no Snicker home run, fucking king. So what I'm fucking saying is...
Just be careful the way you say Snickers.
Okay.
Really trying to stay on the air. So you still have the same kind of obsessions.
Oh, yeah. So the mustard the other day, I go, this seems like it was opened. Yeah. And I go, and I put it back in the refrigerator. She goes, oh, you believe you could die from it, but you'll still put it back in the refrigerator? So your wife and child? I go, well, you guys don't think you're going to die from it. I do. You see what I'm saying?
I'm telling you right now, I'm only trying to figure Bonnie out. What is she doing?
I know, I'm not good. Look, I'm on Amazon. I just bought whatever. I just try to look out for my family. I just bought 40s. Yes, I do. 40s little sonic things that you plug in that for noise to get rid of the flies and the mice. You know,
you're looking out for your family.
I put together 5 survival packs for my family.
Yeah,
I have 2 in the car. I got survival packs.
What's in the survival pack?
Everything you can imagine to live. Oh, you name it, I got it.
Yeah,
machetes. Little fishing poles. I got stuff you could put in water to sterilize it. I got
just so you know, you live in North Jersey.
Listen,
I mean, if you lived in Montana, this might be an idea.
Listen, you don't know when you're driving home from a fucking gig and whatever, earthquake, something, I don't know, and you got to live on the side of the road for a couple, whatever. I got 2 in my car and 3 at home. Are
you thinking that your life is going to turn into an action film out of nowhere?
No, it all started when I started watching Naked and Afraid. That's when it started.
Yeah. By the way, we all have seen it. None of us have run out and did this. So it's a TV show. These people signed up for this.
Yeah, but listen, you never know. You just got to be prepared. You know, on Naked and Afraid, they're allowed to bring one thing from home.
Yeah.
Why don't they bring an RV? Oh, he threw in one of his bits, folks.
No.
He slipped it in like a plug. Oh, God, do I stink. As long as this is better than Tom Papa's. What? I'm only kidding. He's here tonight downstairs.
Can I tell you something, Rich?
What?
You don't have a worry in the world.
Okay. No. Hey,
I'm kidding. He's downstairs.
I wrote a... Please buy my book. Fuck off. Buy your book. I didn't even read my wife's book.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I going to buy your book? Fucking...
Wait a minute. I'm going to see this. You're against selling things?
No. No, I forgot to bring merch tonight. Bonnie said you can't bring your... I got new shirts that say Voss Legend. And... No, this is... That fucking... No, that my wife will leave me if I do that again. I have an ultimatum. Fucking Yearn is with a U? It's so...
Earn. Yearn doesn't... You saying yearn for no reason. Yearn has a Y. You know, like if you meant to say yearn, you were saying it correctly. This is an earn.
But no one ever calls it a yearn.
Not in the history.
Not even...
Not in recorded history.
Okay.
That
All right,
mistake has never played.
You live and learn. See, that a lot of people
Did you
come
just
on
say
this...
live and yearn?
Live and earn. How fucking... Oh, it's like fucking... He's so fucking quick. I'm telling you, man. Oh, unbelievable. Just don't walk into Stern's office.
Did you say yearn's office? You're trapped in this. Chris, Chris is my producer, and he's letting me know there's been an earthquake. And if anybody has a survival pack, now is the time to put it on.
Fuck, I took the train in.
Would that be the most ironic thing?
My car's at the train station. I mean, you got to see the shit. Bobby thinks his survival stuff is better than mine, but I don't know. Let me tell you.
Bobby's into the same stuff?
Yeah, and it's going to be tough for him to survive on nuts. Okay. All right.
By the way, going back to your roast, he is so funny in this roast and so ridiculously physically funny. The shit that he's oddly doing with a water bottle, some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you know what it reminded me of? Because, like, you know, I talked about this with Bonnie the other day, and we wanted, it's like the old school roast. And she goes, but I wanted to be hip. I go, was. But Bobby would, like, after somebody fucked with him, he would stand up, and he was like a Milton Berle kind of.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? He was just, he was so animated and so funny when somebody trashed him. He goes, what did I do to you? Yeah. And it's just everybody's part came out perfectly. It just, I can't, we're going to do some more of these roasts. We're going to do, like, you know, we want to make it a series. And the next one, these people are going to have to bring a fucking serious game to compare with that roast, you know.
Well, you know, you did bring up something funny about Bobby Kelly. Is like, he would have been funny no matter what decade it was. I never even thought about that until you brought it up. I'm like, he could have existed in the 30s, the 60s. It didn't matter, you know, because he's got... But that Colin in that roast, and like, it might be expected, but Jim Norton in that roast, unfucking believable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I've known him for 18 years. And I'm laughing at him like I've never seen him before. It's stunning how funny that thing is.
And that's why we used Norton to open it, because we knew he's going to... Yeah. One, Norton is always prepared. Like, Norton is so prepared, like, say...
Survival pack-wise, you mean?
No, well, like, say a radio host might be on his way out. He's sitting right there, ready to take the chair. That's how fucking good he is. That fucking sidekick radio hack, that fucking horrible, chinless cocksucker did not wait for that fucking seat to get fucking cold before he threw his fucking wormy little bird fucking self in it with the other sidekick hack. Okay? But he's prepared.
By the way, take all this to Reddit. I'm going to deny it. None of this shit will make it on the air. But
I think he's great. I think he's great. You know what Norton's good for? He's great to. Okay, let's go to Norton. You know what I mean? Yeah, Norton. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? He's quick. All right, but nobody really. Come on. Anyhow. All right. Fucking chinless cocksucker. I don't like him. All right.
I just want to say this. I saw someone laughing hysterically.
What?
Colin Quinn, everybody. We got a mic. Now, Colin was in this roast and came on way late in the roast, where you're at that point where, like, can this keep going like this? You know what I mean? Can the laughter... And he just stepped up and killed. Colin Quinn, everybody. Here he is.
Where do you want me to stand?
What's your new one-man show? Messenger? Fucking messenger bag? What the fuck?
You know what?
Sorry.
Yeah. What's yours, Scarface's father?
Now, I don't want to bring this up for
Here,
the roast.
you want to sit down? My ticker is better. What?
Then
I
why
said
do you
ticker.
why do you lay awake all night staring at the ceiling, wondering if that's true? We know how much you
I
are.
know.
But in this, honestly, what Colin has done, like the last several years of just reinventing his career and doing these specials, it's unbelievably funny and brilliant, and no one's done this kind of thing before, and that's what he gets attacked for in the roast.
Yeah.
We're like, what are you making, an educational? Who said that?
DeRosa.
DeRosa. And I'm like, this is his weakness? The brilliant specials?
DeRosa was very funny in the roast, but I didn't like his giant fucking acting / pandering to the crowd, and they all fell for it, professional comedians and all. And he's like, jumping around the fucking stage.
Yeah, I know.
I delivered my shit monotonously, and that's how you can tell it's funny.
But do you remember? Do you remember when Florentine was on Killing and you were sitting next to me? You go, "What the fuck am I going to do?"
Oh,
you remember how
he
fucking
killed.
But you went up. You're so fucking good at everything that you had no problem following them. You really are. No, listen.
You know what it is? I'm prepared, but in a different way from Jim. I know what you were saying.
I have a thing. Colin drew a picture of a car driving to a shitty one-nighter in Jersey, and it was me in the car. And he drew, and I saved it in case he, ever becomes, good again or famous. And he signed it. It's, you know what it's fucking worth?
Wow.
No, that one.
Did you have any moments like this before I got here?
No, it's been killing.
Ron goes, oh.
It's been killing.
Look,
listen,
it's been a struggle, Colin.
No.
I'm not going to lie to you. There was such sadness in this.
Yeah.
That a few people just started crying.
Yeah.
what do you mean? I'm just trying to be real. What do you want? Fucking some dog and pony show? I'm
Yes.
fucking,
Yes.
Oh, listen, everybody.
He goes, yes.
Come to
Dog and-
Papa and no.
First of all,
What?
you're always doing kind of half of a dog and pony show, the pony part, anyway.
Really? Oh shit!
Good to see you, my friend. Holy shit.
How you been?
Tom Papa walks in, gives boss the finger and leaves.
Tom looks like the guy who tried to suffocate Meyer Lansky in Cuba.
Who's next? Norton's gonna slide under the door. Is Opie anywhere picking his nose? What the fuck? Wait.
That's why he's the king.
Yeah. He is.
Oh, Tom's got to know that I'm serious.
Yeah.
No, that I'm
He had to
only
look at-
kidding.
Yeah, he
Oh,
definitely
fuck.
knows that you're serious.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's always important. Like you say, every day you want to make at least one enemy. That's what you want to do. Well, I want to say this because we got to wrap this up. We're at the point, but I've done a lot of these, Rich Voss, and no one else has ever needed help. So, Colin Quinn, Tom Papa, and Rich Voss, everybody. That was amazing.
Thank you. VossRoast.com.